Okay, today is Tuesday, February 10th, and the market behaved pretty well according to the stuff I saw on ChartCast today. So I'm sure this will be a good review for you, George.
This was a great day for, I think we had a newbie in there today, and for them to actually be able to come in on a day like today where the market was moving really slow, so nothing was going, overly fast that maybe it becomes confusing. So good for them. They picked a good day to start the room. But yeah, we'll start here on the ES. Blow this guy up. And of course, just looking at it very broad, like 1,000-foot view here just on the day. Again, we post everything ahead of time, so we knew where the major hurdles and decision points were going to be in the market on the top side and what needed to happen. So these were excellent short opportunities. There was one a little bit higher, but either way, broad view. It obviously didn't get through it. Got to our first series of targets in our second. So let's zoom in and take you through it moment by moment here. So okay, so we'll start down here. So pre-market. Again, it's always important to know where has the market been from a price action standpoint, because if it doesn't go through key areas, in this case, we label them as rubber bands. So if they can't get through something that's labeled as a rubber band, they simply don't have the strength to continue, at least at a time. And that's really the looking at it. So that was all pre-markets. Let's find our 920 bar. So here's our 920. Here's where we start talking. And as you can see, maybe I'll zoom out a little bit from this. It's a bit much. So there we go. So from the 920, the discussion was really don't do anything, because we were in the middle. We had already posted back at 910 just before we got into the room that we had resistance effectively up top, i.e. a hurdle. And then we had support, which was much further down here at 72. So here at 920, there's nothing to do. You would literally be guessing at this point, because we're almost exactly 50% up or down. So either way, we started the day off. First spike up didn't get very high. Spike down didn't get close enough to our support level. That was an unfortunate, maneuver by the market, but I can't make it happen. Nevertheless, it did technically support it because it didn't get through it. So it would have been a heck of a front run if you were attempting it. But here again, just for reference, we had the core, and it was right on top of low mid one that it basically hit to the tick, and it bounced from there. I, for one, was not able to get long because my orders were closer to the support. But as we just waited and were patient, I took all of my entries down the ES. I took them up here as it was lingering up near the decision point and the hurdle. As we can see, obviously hindsight is 2020, but even then you could just see wick, wick, wick. It really wasn't committing above it. We did have, I threw it out there just so people knew it, more as a just in case, folks. Like if the market reacts quickly, they can still go to certain levels, and it's really a matter of, does the body of the candle close up there, or is it just a wick? Is it a very fast moving, we just wanted to tag it and we're heading back down. So we did have a minor has to hold up here even at 10 quarter, but otherwise that was going to be the end of it. So we held all that, and then they gave us the initial series of targets, which were down here starting around 84. And again, you can kind of see the reaction of the market. It's a target, and it kind of fades back usually. It's a target, and like this one kind of overshot, but then it fades back a little bit. And then finally we got to our rubber band down here way later in the day. It was a very slow moving day, extremely slow moving day. But as we were kind of sort of consolidating in this zone, we were inside this whole first series of targets. It became obvious that they were going to give additional downside targets to even lower levels. So Nevertheless, we got there, got to second target to the tick, in fact, nailed it. And now the day's pretty much coming to a close here. We just hit 4:30, so we're done for the day. What was your observation?
Pretty much the same thing. This was another day of no trading for me because I'm getting ready to roll out some new stuff. I was doing a lot of testing, so.
Cool. Anything we missed that was maybe talked about through the day? I don't, I feel like it's kind of a boring day because it just grinded in one direction slowly.
Yeah, it's funny because even though the screen looked like there was a lot of movement compared to the last 10 days, it was a super small day. Those candles look big, but they're only 10 points on the 5 minute. We haven't seen that low, volatility in a while. So it was one of those things where you could get in, like you always say, you're not looking for the perfect entry, but today gave you lots of room to be wrong and still get the trade. So that was good.
Yep. And we called it first thing this morning. I had said before we even started, I said, today's most likely a consolidation day. And consolidating just means that they're not really trying to take it to any, extreme level. They're not trying to shoot for any massive targets. So let's find the shorter targets and get in, get out, and be done. So, all right. So that was the ES. Again, feel like we did very well today on the ES. Let's see how the NQ played out. NQ, again, similar story. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, the market started the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes, first couple candles. The market started mixed, if I remember correctly. So let's find our 920. There's our 920. We'll zoom in again. All right, so starting on our 920 bar here, same thing. Same deal. We were like, guys, we're in the middle. We had already accomplished a target to the top side. I'll drag it down here for you guys. So this was part of a series that had started in the pre-market, and they had achieved target 1. So again, not that we cared because it was pre-market. We weren't really posting anything. We weren't in the room. But it's always important to know what has the market achieved and when, if at all, does the scenario die. So start of the morning here, after it made, I think it was the 940 candle. Yep. After it closed back below the 3 a.m. bar, it effectively ended what is the specifics of this scenario. So we turned the candle, the connecting piece here, we turned it red from blue so people knew that while that was an earlier scenario, they chose not to play it out fully. And they don't have to. They never have to. They just have to get really to target 1. Target 2 is the ideal location that they're always after, but it is also very telling if they can't even accomplish that. So either way, we did that and then immediately had posted back again earlier in the morning that we had, and I don't want people to confuse it. So this miner has to hold here. I had posted it at 8:45 just to tell people like, hey, I wasn't in the room. I hadn't actually started doing my diligence yet, but that this level down here at the 306 was really in reference to earlier in the day. So you could flip it this direction. And again, I found it totally after the fact, so it doesn't really matter, but I don't want people to misconstrue what we're getting across here, because that miner has to hold was in relationship to that first target that was the scenario that ultimately died. So either way, so we were talking about, again, where we're at, and there's really nothing to do. We got to go much lower if we want to try to catch any level of either support or another has to hold, or we got to go up much higher if they're going to try to finish off anything to the upside. So either way, we had 72, that was the ES, 321 down here as the most aggressive support level. And you can kind of see, like, same deal. If you were just to simply drag this across, you can kind of see what we're talking about. It's just a very key level. So again, it's no wonder that the market came back to it, bounced, came back to it, fiddled around here, finally came back up, resisted it, because that's how the market works. Resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance. And you just have to know when is it still good to go which direction? But either way, it nailed. I got all my NQ entries on here at the miner has to hold personally. And it took us up to which we had mentioned that the upside targets are gone. So they were toast based on the prior price action. So it wasn't going to be about whether or not we were achieving targets initially. So just use the core. Use the core as your primary profit taking locations. So again, we highlight specifically things like midpoints, which are the gray lines, point of control, POC, other midpoints, and then up here you have expected high, to which it obviously made the entire range in what 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. So in 20 minutes time, we had covered the whole range of the core, which was just absolutely amazing. I love it when it happens quickly. And then otherwise it said, okay, well, now that we're up here, it's all fine and dandy, but they got to get through the hurdle. The hurdle's up here at 457, and clearly it never got through the hurdle. So again, once again, I should say, the core kind of wins with the specific location. So the numbers themselves that we give are key, because breaking them or holding them is necessary. And then it's just a matter of risk tolerance and how are you going to enter. And for that, we have the core to thank for trying to find slightly more aggressive or maybe slightly more conservative exits, entries, and so forth. But they gave us all these downside targets. We hit all 3 of them, part of this series. So again, but it just held and walked away.
Good 200 points up
and
200 points down. That was pretty good.
Right. And then later in the day, they did the same thing. They consolidated right smack dab in the middle of their targets. They gave additional downside. Kind of big picture has to hold, which it's big picture, meaning that it does not have to be perfect, although it certainly did tag it perfectly here at 340 and 345. So even that, like, you're looking for the reaction of the market, and like, where is the market going to make some kind of reaction? Where is the market going to make some ultimate determination as to the next move? So even here, if you had a limit order sitting and waiting, this was what, 330. Even that bounce alone is 35 points. I know a lot of people who would just be thrilled to get 10 points, 20 points, let alone 35. So you can always kind of look back and realize that even though it wasn't maybe the ultimate move, then it still had a huge reaction off of it.
Right.
But we did finally hit first target. So now it really will depend, because here we are again. We've hit first target, part of that second scenario, and lo and behold, we're back above the has to hold. So if they stay above this, then tomorrow could be a pretty significant up day. So we'll watch that in Globex and see what happens in the morning.
Awesome.
How'd that one do?
Yeah, that's a pretty good day. I mean, it's not every day that these things just kind of react perfectly into the stuff you've drawn, but today was one of those, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was done personally pretty early in the day. I did not need any more points. I was pretty happy.
Right.
I caught the NQ up and I caught the ES down. We were laughing actually in the room about, I can't remember the guy's name. What's the dude? He's like a really famous trader. It's either William something or something William. Older guy, like late 60s maybe.
Larry Williams?
I don't know if is that it? Larry Williams?
Probably.
Anyhow,
he's a famous
he was just
trader.
yeah, exactly. But he was commenting how people would ask him, like, what's the best markets to trade? And he said very clearly, the ones that are set up to go. And so I laughed because I looked at today and I was chuckling that, like, yeah, we had support down here on the ES, but it didn't get there.
All right.
But at the exact same time of day, so we were at 9:45. At 9:45, the NQ got right to the miner has to hold.
To the tick.
So it's to the tick.
Yeah.
Like, and again, we called that out well ahead of time. People were well prepared to take that trade. So I was thrilled. It was a great day.
Well, I think we'll just leave it on a positive note there, and we'll be back tomorrow. I did put a link to the class in this video, and also a link to the 7-day free trial if you're not in here yet. We'd like to have you come, and during that week trial, George tries to do a one-on-one session, which a lot of people charge for, but he does not. So we think that's another value-added benefit to joining us in the trade room. So we hope to see you there.
Yep, go down to the details page underneath this video, and yeah, just open it up. And again, you can go through the course, like Bob said, for free and understand what it is that we're posting each day and reference back to it.
Okay, George, thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow.